All right, so in this meal, we're gonna be showing you how to do a very basic meal: chicken, rice, green beans. Chicken is a great way to get a good amount of protein in, and this is a very simple meal that you can batch cook and make it very, very simply. So what we do and what Jen does is Jen will start the week. We'll usually do this twice a week where we meal prep anywhere from like 8 to 12 chicken breasts at once. The reason for this is, like, if I have chicken twice a day, she has chicken once a day, and we have that on a course 2 or 3 days, across 2 or 3 days, that's gonna go pretty quick. If we're cooking that each individual day, that's a lot of time wasted. We're busy people, you're busy people, you don't wanna do that, right? So what you will do is take a baking sheet, okay? You take a baking sheet, lay out as many chicken breasts as you can get in there, okay? Try to fit like 8 to 10 chicken breasts on one sheet. What are the temperatures?
So you want to cook the chicken breast, and it really depends on the type of oven you have. So for 8 breasts, for example, I put it under 375 for about 30 to 35 minutes. So really kind of gauge with your own oven and the size of chicken breast that you also have as well. We use the chicken from JW Foods, which usually come anywhere from 5 to 6 ounces raw. So just be mindful about the setting that you have with your oven, and then also the timing that you put in. Another big factor is the quality of meat that you have. There's a really big difference from the what type of protein of chicken breast that you have in the store versus something that's a little bit more better sourced, and that will also make a difference of how your chicken turns out. Yeah,
a lot of it is like experimenting, trial and error. This is why we like JW Foods, because you can get like 6-ounce chicken breasts that are like pre-cut, pre-weighed. It's already there. They're all gonna be 6 ounces, and they're already skinned, they're already weighed, they're all the same. If you have like 5 different chicken breasts and they're all these like Frankenstein chicken breasts, one's huge, one's small, one's lumpy, one's smooth, whatever, they're not gonna cook evenly, so it becomes difficult. When you get chicken breasts like that, I personally just slice them up so that they are more even. You can cook them in a pan, or you can do them in the oven. We did these in the oven, so our chicken breasts are already cooked. So we did them on a baking sheet, threw it in the oven, 365 for about 30 minutes. It came out to this, okay? So these are already pre-seasoned.
I also want to mention to you about the seasoning. So in order for you to create protein sources, because all of them are pretty bland if you don't season them. And if you're trying to cook something that you can look forward to and adhere to for the whole week, for example, you want to season it really well. So we usually have a base seasoning that we usually like to stick to. And with that seasoning, it could be anything from a classic Italian seasoning. You could buy it already pre-mixed at the grocery store. And this is what we keep in the fridge throughout the week. And we can actually dish it in so many different ways. And so many different meals. And so having a base seasoning that you enjoy, whether that's a Mexican seasoning, Italian seasoning, or just some Indian, whatever you dig, barbecue, there's so many things that you can kind of go in, but having a base seasoning that you like will allow you for more flexibility and creativity to add it into and whip it into any meals that you make during the week.
Yeah, like for example, I have this with veggies on its own sometimes, I have it with rice, sometimes I put it in wraps. You can really get creative with it. There's a million different ways to eat chicken. There's a million different ways to season it. When you marinate it, you should marinate it for at least a few hours. You don't need to use sauces. Like, sauces are gonna be full of calories, stuff that's bugging your gut. Use real seasonings. I don't like to buy the pre-made seasonings. I think you should get all different spices, invest in a good spice cupboard, put it all together yourself. It's gonna be way better, it's gonna taste way better, be way better on your gut. Season it for a few hours, and then you pull it out. Anyways, this is what it comes out to. I've already weighed this out to be 6 ounces. So this meal is gonna be 6 ounces. We're gonna steam the green beans in the way that we've showed you before. So if you haven't watched that video, the way that that looks like, you put your pan on the stove top, or you can use like a steamer pot if you have an actual steamer. If not, a pan works too. You put the pan on high, you use a tablespoon of coconut oil, then you take your frozen green beans, you add it to here, then that will be cooking. You cover it, you add a bit of splash of water so it's steamed, and you leave that and it's ready to go in like 3-4 minutes. We're gonna show you that after at the end of the video, but the rice is what takes the longest. So Jen is gonna show you the rice. She is the rice master, the rice queen, and she's gonna show you how to do rice the Filipino way, because there is really no other way.
Yes, so we're gonna talk about a rice here, okay? And when it comes to cooking rice, obviously you're gonna make a lot of it, and when it comes to meal prepping, it's very important to have these bulked meals or food sources readily available. So cooking rice, whenever you are meal prepping in general, always start with the food source that's gonna take longest to cook. So like Sean said, the rice is gonna take longest, approximately for what we're gonna weigh out, it will take roughly 20 minutes. So I have a bag of pure basmati rice. You could choose whatever rice that you have. Definitely with certain rices, it's going to require less or more water, but I'm going to show you a really good trick in a second.
With the rice, don't buy pre-packaged microwave rices. Okay, those aren't just real rice. They often have canola oil,
Yes.
vegetable oil, other crap in there, dextrose, all this crap that you don't want in your body.
Preservatives.
That convenience is not worth your health. Get good at making this. Get a good rice cooker. A good rice cooker is this Tiger one, okay? This one here with the flowers on it, it's the Tiger one. Jen told me to get it. I've got it. We've had that
I've
same
grown
one.
up with this brand rice cooker for years, and so it's tried and true. It's simple. All you need is one little button, that's it. No fanciness to it. Super, super simple. So we're gonna simplify the process.
There's new ones, right? There's new ones with a million different settings, and they're terrible. We thought, oh, that must be better. It's more expensive. It's better. No, it's shit. Get this one, click button. That's all you need.
So we're gonna make the rice. So I don't ever weigh out my rice, okay? So I'm gonna show you a really good trick that I want you to do, only using this thing alone, and your hands. That's all you need, and rice, of course. So we're gonna put in a little bit of rice. Sean eats quite a bit of rice, but we're gonna be doing, what's great is that this actually has some lines that you can kind of measuring in. So I'm gonna roughly do about 2 cups. So we're gonna go at about 2 cups. Measure that out. Maybe not, I'll probably go 1 cup. Okay, we'll do 2. It's a lot of rice. Okay, we're gonna do 2. All right, so we're gonna do the rice. I'm gonna even it out. And then we're gonna rinse this out. And what's really important is that we wanna wash out all the starch. So I'm gonna rinse it out for a little bit and making sure that all the starch from the rice is gone. I usually like rinsing it out 2 or 3 times through. Pretty much a great way to gauge if you washed all the starch off the rice, or majority of it, is that the water is clear and not cloudy. So you wanna get it to that point. So I'm gonna do that really quick. Really clear. It was much cloudier than what it looked like a few minutes ago. But we're gonna rinse it out. And so what you do after this is that you take your finger, and this is the actual trick that you need to learn, is you take your middle finger, and that first line is where you want to measure your water, the very top of the water. So you're gonna put your finger in, make sure your hands are clean, okay? We don't need dirty fingers in your water. You're gonna take your middle finger, flip whoever you wanna flip. You're gonna take your finger, and the very base of your finger, you're gonna touch it till you touch the surface of the rice. And if the top of the water hits that first line of your finger, that's when you know you have enough water. Now, again, you guys are gonna tell me, Jen, what if I have a longer finger than you? What if I have different rices? Then, okay, this is your point to really gauge how much water that looks like. Because Sean's finger is definitely bigger than mine. So you wanna gauge roughly about that. And every single time it's been foolproof, it's worked for me every single time. Again, gauge how much water that is, but that is a rough estimate, and you will never have to measure it ever again. So we're gonna put this in the rice cooker now. Yes, great point. So I'm actually gonna put some salt and a little bit of a coconut oil, just so it shouldn't stick around the
Makes it taste better
mixer,
as well.
but it also tastes better. I always love putting salt in here as well. So we're gonna put salt and coconut water, and then we're gonna get some salt. Sea salt.
Good, yeah, this one or no?
No, we're gonna get this Himalayan salt. Thank you. I'm gonna dash some salt in here. Yeah,
We're not scared of salt in this house.
Salt is amazing for you. Okay. You should show them the salt we use.
Yeah, so we have a fine.
No, like the brand, it's just in the first drawer.
Okay.
So we're gonna show you a really good quality salt if you're looking for good quality Himalayan salt, because not all salt is created equal. It's in the next drawer. Yeah. Right there.
Oh, this is the Redmond real sign, real fine. This is one we got. We heard about this in Texas, in Austin. Everyone uses that. It's really good.
Really good. Okay, so now that you've mixed the salt and the coconut oil in, we're gonna put in the rice cooker. And do you want to bring the rice cooker? Oh, sorry. Already plugged in. Okay, so we're gonna put it in. Again, all you need is one little button, and that's all you need. And then 20 minutes, this is gonna be perfect rice.
Okay, so you open sesame, you close, it clicks into place. Very, very complicated stuff. Rice cook. And then when rice is done, the rice warm. Okay, rice cooked to rice warm. Okay, that's gonna take you about 20 minutes once that's all done. In the meantime, and in the between time, you might have green beans already ready, you might have chicken already ready. I like to warm it up. I warm 99% of my meals up in a pan. I just find it tastes better. Same thing when that rice is all done, it's been in the fridge, it's gonna be hard. So what I do is I just break it up, I warm it up in a pan. You can also microwave it, it's really up to you, but this is easier as well. But you could portion this out into different containers. You could have this same meal like 2-3 times in a day. Get your protein jacked up sky high, right? You might want to make this twice in a day. You put 6 ounces of rice in here or 4 ounces of rice in here. How much? Your carbs will be your carbs will be dependent on how much you need, right? So if you're using 3 ounces of rice, 4, 6, 8 ounces of rice, that's dependent on you. Same thing with chicken. How much protein do you need? I use 6 ounces of protein per serving. You might want to use 4. This recipe calls for 6 ounces of rice, 6 ounces of chicken, and 4 ounces of green beans, just to keep it simple. That's going to be a very balanced and even meal. It's a great way to do it. So we would steam our green beans in here, throw the chicken there as well. Once that's all done, mash it up, put it on a plate, or you can put it in Tupperware containers if you have to go. But that is ultimately how we do it. Once this rice is done, we're gonna pop back on the video again, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like just all putting it together. All right, so we are pretty much almost done here, okay? So you have your rice cooker, okay? It has gone from rice cook up to rice warm, all right? You open it, you're gonna get a lot of lovely steam coming out of here. It's great, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish out 6 ounces of rice, because that's what I'm using is 6 ounces, okay? So I have my scale here. I have my Tupperware right next to that, my glass container. I switch it over to ounces, okay? Jen has made perfect, beautiful, fluffy rice here. Super nice. Whoop, hot. Okay, fish that in, 4.5. Do a little bit more. 5.5. A little bit more. 6 on the dot. All right. As you get better at doing this, you'll be able to really get good at your eye scale. You'll be able to do it faster. You won't have to like pick rice in, pull rice out, that whole business. Okay. So now I've got my rice here. I've got my chicken here. So my chicken, it's already cooked. I could just add this in, but just to show you the way you would do it. I've got this on. We've got coconut oil already in the pan. I like to make a bunch of green beans at one time and then weigh it all out after. Okay. So might as well just finish off this bag. As you can see, like I don't do everything like super calculated. Like we weigh stuff after, but like you can use practical thinking and use common sense. Like why am I gonna leave 20 grams of green beans in there if I need 150? Like just use the extra. You can always put the rest in another meal. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we have this going here on high heat. Not sure where the cover has gone, but I will cover this and then I will steam it, add the chicken, mix it all up in the rice, and we have ourselves a delicious meal. Salt, if you're watching these videos, good for muscular contractions, good for keeping you hydrated, good for getting your electrolytes. Salt is absolutely necessary. Highly recommend you salt all of your meals, okay? This rice looks bomb, it's perfect. This chicken's cool, but I'm gonna eat this now, so we're gonna fire this in there. Get in the feeling of like touching your food. I think that really like adds a spiritual woo-woo, hocus-pocus vibe to things, but it does matter. Like I like to touch my food, I like to smell my food. Be in touch with your food. Don't be in a rush to like scarf it down and hate your food and oh, why do I have to eat this? Like this is delicious. How can you complain about eating this? This is delicious. Chicken, rice, green beans. Basic. People say, oh, I don't want to eat chicken, rice, and veggies. Why? Chicken, rice, and veggies is an absolute staple for a reason. High protein, high nutrients, good energy, amazing. Okay, so little tip here of how to add this. So this already has 6 ounces of rice in it, okay? So I'm gonna put this on. So you're like, oh, well, you're gonna add that. Isn't that gonna screw things up? No, because you have a button on your scale called tare. You tare, and now my scale says 0. My scale currently thinks there's nothing in here, but there is, okay? So I'm gonna start fishing out green beans until we get to 4 ounces, all right? Got 3, 3.6, 3.8, 3.9, 3.9, 4. All right, cool. We're gonna wait for that chicken to be hot. I'm gonna fish the chicken out of there. We have the meal, and then I'll put the other green beans in there, save it for another meal for another day. All right, so the chicken is already cooked. We're gonna pull that out just like this out of the pot. Maybe not. Hey. And we're good. This comes off. Give it a little shake. Put it all in here. All right, and that's another meal right there. You want to be practical when you cook. You don't want to throw stuff out. You don't want to be wasteful. All right. Now I will cover this up. This will probably get eaten right now, not gonna lie, but how I would normally do this is I just package this up, eat it later. But that has been chicken, rice, green beans, featuring myself and Jen. Hopefully you enjoy this meal. This is honestly probably what I have more than anything. Super easy, super convenient. Get yourself a rice cooker, batch cook your chicken, cook your green beans in batch as well. The more you can batch cook and the more you can be efficient, you're gonna find that this process is actually very enjoyable. All right, have a good day, enjoy.